If y'all been following my channel as of recently, I did a video talking about what systemic white supremacy looks like in 2023, where I was talking about a man by the name of Patrick Braxton, who won a mayoral position basically by default, and how they were trying to keep him out of the position that he rightfully and fairly won. Well, let's fast forward just a little bit to this story that I'm presenting to you today. We have this man by the name of Stephen Murphy III, who was a federal judge who literally recently had a case that he was working on thrown out against a black man because it got revealed that this man said that this black man looked like a criminal to him. He said this black man just looked like a criminal, not even with any facts behind it of this man being a criminal, just that he looked like one, which of course is a stereotype that we know many PC individuals have of us, and none of them can say, oh, that's not true. Just go on Twitter and look at some of those threads, and you'll see the stereotypes pop out whenever something happens, or if something doesn't involve us, they'll find a way to throw us in there. Trust me, you will have a field day by looking at some of the comments that they leave, whether they are real people or they're trolls. I'm gonna read this article that's coming from CBSnews.com, and I'm recording this video on August 12, 2023, and it's coming out of Detroit. An appeals court on Thursday overturned the drug conviction of a black man, saying his rights were violated by a Detroit federal judge who was upset over delays in the case and declared, "This guy looks like a criminal to me." So because there were delays in the case, he just said, I'm gonna toss my papers up, flip this table, and say the man looks like a criminal, just so he could move on to the next case. Just so he could move on from this case. Such remarks are wholly incompatible with the fair administration of justice, the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said. U.S. District Judge Stephen Murphy III, who was white, apologized nearly 2 years later when the case against LaRon Liggins finally was ready for trial. He explained that he was mad at the time, and I regret it. You should keep your emotions in check. Nonetheless, the appeals court said Murphy should have removed himself as Liggins' attorney had requested. The court threw out a heroin distribution conviction and a 10-year prison sentence and ordered a new trial with a different judge. Allowing the conviction to stand would substantially undermine the public's confidence in the judicial process, 6th Circuit Judge Eric Clay said in a 3-0 opinion. Prosecutor says the remark was a reference to Liggins' alleged conduct and not his appearance, but the appeals court said a reasonable observer could interpret it differently. So that's the angle they're trying to go at it with. Oh, it's his appearance. It has nothing to do with his race. But like I said, I'm glad they came back and said a person who a juror could come back and look at it a whole lot differently. Or like they said, a reasonable observer could look at it differently because of the stereotype behind it. Here's a black man, and what is he being charged with? Drug possession. It goes hand in hand. And it's funny they say that, considering if you know your history of how a boatload of drugs ended up in black communities. Well, let's just put it this way. If you're watching this video and you need more information about it, go watch my Black Massacre series entries about the so-called war on drugs. Murphy said he lost his composure in 2020 after Liggins repeatedly had switched between wanting to plead guilty and choosing a trial, and also failed to get along with his second lawyer. He ended up with 4. I'm tired of this case. I'm tired of this defendant. I'm tired of getting the runaround. This has been going on since February 6, 2018, Murphy said in court. This guy looks like a criminal to me. This is what criminals do, Murphy said. This isn't what innocent people who want a fair trial do. He's indicted in Kentucky. He's indicted here. He's alleged to be dealing heroin, which addicts, hurts, and kills people. And he's playing games with the court. At trial in 2021, Murphy, a judge for 15 years, apologized and said it could be fair to Liggins. I lost my head, he said. So that's the whole article right there. And see, now, because of what he did, they ended up tossing this man's conviction. For all they know, let's hypothetically say they could have been getting this guy on what could have been a guilty conviction. But because of what came out of his mouth, now they have to toss it. And based on what I said, it looks like they're trying to do a new trial. So now they got to do it all over again with a new judge when they find one. All because he couldn't keep his mouth shut and said that the guy looked like a criminal to him. I have a question for this judge. What does a criminal look like? Because I'm going to be honest with you. There are some people out here who can blend in with society so well that they don't look like a quote unquote criminal. Some of your notorious criminals are those who are very unsuspecting. They look very innocent. They, like I said, they blend in with society so well that no one would even guess or even have the thought of them being engaged in criminal activity. And if some of the criminal activity isn't even low level, if when you find out what they're engaged in, it'll blow your mind. But because they blended in so well, they were right under your nose. One of them would be Jeffrey Dahmer. The way that man was able to get around people so well, except for some people who suspected him, but unlike the people that were supposed to, because he appeared a certain way, he was able to get away with a lot of stuff that he did for years. So that's just something to think about. Don't think that just because a person looks like a criminal that they are, and don't think that if someone looks innocent and so-called law-abiding that they are not a criminal.